and living in it. This is our summer focus, if you will. The whole idea here is that all of humankind longs to know the heart of God. We are constantly searching, but apart from Jesus Christ, are never finding. Only in Jesus Christ is this heart of God revealed towards us and towards all people. The Bible says that no one has ever seen God, but the only begotten Son of the Father, He has revealed Him. Jesus Christ reveals the very heart of God to us. And that's our focus throughout this summer series. And we're looking at four basic areas. Go ahead, Lisa. Look at these four, the inviting God, and we looked at that for 3 weeks, that this God invites us to Himself, and it's a personal thing because He became one of us. And so all the things that touches our lives, all the brokenness, it became personal for Jesus. He wept at the funeral of Lazarus. He hates death as much. If you ever wonder why He would die on the cross, it's because He went through the pain of death in others, right? He wept with Mary and Martha. It says that His heart burst. He had this great compassion for people. And He hates all of this brokenness as much as we do, and He could do something about it, right? And so He went the way of the cross. This personal reality of this invitation, this relevance that without Him we are empty. We're weary, we're worn out, and so it's relevant. And in His great love, it's like He puts pyrotechnics around it. It's something He doesn't want us to miss. And that all flows into the empty tomb. Hey, don't miss this, man. This is real, and this is for you, this invitation. We looked at that for 3 weeks, and we're into the connecting God, that God wants to connect with us. We weren't made to have life alone, but rather to be in connection with God. We see this right from from when He created us, right? He breathed into us. The very ruach of God was breathed into us, and we became living persons with a body and soul so that we could connect with God in relationship. And that's what we lost with sin, and we'll never be complete until we're connected with Him again in that relationship. And so He comes to us to connect with us. And then once we're those trees and we're strong and we're alive in Him, then He will apprentice us. He'll show us what it means to live in that love. And then He'll send us out to walk with Him on His mission. This is the heart of God. And it's revealed in how He comes to us and how He empowers us to live. So today we continue our focus on the connecting God. He wants to connect with us. It's way back in Genesis, Adam and Eve are running away, and God says, and He says, "Where are you? I've come to connect with you," right? And last week we looked at this idea of the hospitality of God. You are welcome here. There was a great picture we showed last week, the prodigal son, the father running down the road, giving up virtually every position that he had in the community, giving up, in a sense, his life to welcome his stinking son who had been with the pigs, right? And he throws his arms around him. That's a picture of the hospitality of God towards us. You are welcome here, even when you're in the pig slop. Even when you stink, even when you're broken, He runs down the lane, runs down the road to throw His arm around us, and He invites us and empowers us to do the same for others, both in our individual lives and together as His people. Today we continue this idea of the connecting God, and we're going to talk about friendship. I call you friend. In the little paragraph I wrote up for today, I talked about some of our best friends in the seminary, Lee and Janie Genter. And it was funny how Lee and I met. I rolled down to the parking lot of the seminary, and I went into the admin building, and I got squared away. And they said, "Oh, this guy needs help unloading his truck into the apartment. He's got like on a second or third story, and will you help?" I said, "Sure, I got time." So I went there, and we worked for hours together. And somehow, in that hot, you ever been in the Midwest? Hot, muggy summer day? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And he rented this little apartment up in the, like near the sky, near the clouds, right? If there had been clouds of the day. And so we're taking all this stuff up, and we got to trust each other because we got this heavy furniture. If you're on the bottom, you hope that guy doesn't let go, right? And so we're doing this all day long, and we're talking, and we're sharing our lives. Somewhere in all of that, the mystery of friendship took place, right? It's a mystery, isn't it? And we shared one another, and we connected with each other, and pretty soon our wives connected, and it was one of those friendships. And it's amazing what God does 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting in my office, and I've written this little paragraph. I know I'm going to preach about this. And I hadn't seen them in 20 years, and they walk in the door and into my office. Yeah, they just took time. They wanted to make sure I was okay, after my wife, Janie, died a few years ago. They've been in contact with me and all those things. They took their time and their effort. They took time out from seeing their kids, and it was like time stood still. You have friends like that? Where you're so connected that it's like you just pick it up where you left off? And we did that for 3 hours. I just dropped what I was doing, and we went for 3 or 4 hours, just sat and talked and laughed and remembered and connected, Friendship. It's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? You have gifts like that in your life? That's what Jesus offers to you. He would call you friend. That's what we're going to look at today. It was Maundy Thursday evening. This was the night before Jesus would die. And in the book of John, in the other Gospels, there's just this little abbreviated stuff, and they mention the Lord's Supper and so forth. But in the Gospel of John, there's like 5.5, 6 chapters, and it all talks about what Jesus did and the things he spoke on this night, which was ushering in the time in which we live. I think that's so important for us to get. From this point on, Jesus would not live with his people like he once had. He would not be with them moment by moment and day by day. He would not do life with him in that sense, right? He would appear to them after the resurrection, and he would appear to them at the Mount of Ascension, right? And he'd ascend into heaven, but he would never be like he was with the disciples. In other words, it started the time we live in. And he did things like wash the disciples' feet and said, now I've given you an example, you do as I've done for you. He prayed for the disciples, and he prayed for us. He says, those who will believe through their amazing stuff. I think on Monday, Thursday, Jesus was thinking about you, because he's the God-man, right? He's not limited in thought. And so when he was praying for those who would believe through their message, he knew you. In 2018, who would come to faith in him. He was praying for you. Isn't that amazing? On that night that would usher in this time, he was praying for you. But he also was going to talk to them about friendship and about the fact that he was changing their relationship from master and servant to friend. Pretty powerful stuff. Started like this. He says, as the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. If you obey my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have obeyed my Father's commands and remain in his love. There's a lot of love in there, isn't there? It always amazes me how we can read these words and they just kind of fly by our head. We don't quite understand the depth of what Jesus is saying. I think part of it is that we really have a hard time grasping the idea of love. I think part of it is because we're English speakers. You know how that goes? Let me see. I love my dog. I love my child. I love a good steak, and I love my spouse. We really know what love means, right? Yeah, we read these words and it flies by us because we're not getting what he's saying. The word that he used for love here was agape. Put that up for me, Lisa. Yeah, he used this word agape. Agape is this special kind of love that is only known in God. And as God dwells within us by faith in Jesus Christ, we can reflect as well. This agape love is a love of understanding, of knowledge, of action. It's a love that informs our emotions. It drives our emotions. It doesn't come from our emotions. This agape love is the love that the Father and the Son and the Spirit have lived in from eternity. It is an all-encompassing ocean of caring. As the Father has loved me. In this perfect dwelling of love from eternity, Jesus says, that's how I love you. This is the beginning of this friendship he's going to offer us. Agape love does not depend on me earning it or of jumping through a hoop. It comes from God understanding me perfectly. We like that idea. What I mean by understanding me perfectly is that he knows everything I wouldn't dare share with you. You got it? He knows every shadow. He knows every misstep. He knows every place where I'm stinking from the pigs. You see, he completely understands. And yet, he loves me. And he went the way of the cross for me. As the Father has agapied me from eternity, so I have agapied you. Now, remain in my love. I give it to you. Just receive it by faith. Rest in this ocean of a God who understands everything, who sees it all, and meets you there with his cross and empty tomb, with his life, to give you life in him. And he goes on, he says, if you obey my commands, you will remain in my love. We immediately say, oh man, he's beating me over the head with a hammer. No. In 1 John, what does it say? This is my command, to believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, to trust him, this agape love. And then this, I believe it's called an appositional kai. It's like the resultative, and so to love one another, and so to agape one another. This is what it's, if you obey my commands, if you receive this agape love, and are thus empowered to agape others. See, you'll be empowered to love others in this way. Just as I obeyed my Father, what was the Father's will? To go the way of the cross. To love us so much. To be the Son that the Father would give up to go the way of the cross. Just as I have obeyed my Father's commands, and so remain agapeing you, loving you. I really prayed that I would be able to do this paragraph and do it justice. Do you catch it a little bit? This ocean of grace. This is the foundation for the friendship Jesus will offer us. He goes on, I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. My command is this: love, agape each other as I have loved, agape you. This friendship that's going to be based on us living in this love, it's the basis of our joy. That's why I had us read that text from Acts. Paul is saying to the Ephesian Christians, he's saying, I'll never see you again. And he's talking about all the work they did together. And of course, he's the apostle. He has led them in that work. He has done that work with them. And they're sorrowing over knowing that he's going and they won't see him. But it's not just because he's a leader. It's because they have this connection of love and friendship. Read this with me. It says, what grieved them most, let's read it together, ready? What grieved them most was his statement that they would never see his face again. After we had torn ourselves away from them, we put out to sea. This is not words of someone in an organization who's just taking the next step. It's not words of someone who has just commanded people. It is words of people who have lived in this gift of friendship through this agape love. And it is joy. It's the foundation for joy in our lives. We tend to read the Bible, and especially the New Testament epistles, so often as theological textbooks. But they're also an insight into this joy of friendship through this love that they had with one another. So much so that the pagans would jump into the Colosseum to die with them because they wanted what they saw for themselves. This is the joy that he would give us in our living. It's only based on this. Go ahead. That friendship is all about. It says, I wrote this out. I said, the agape love is the foundation for the connection or relationship or friendship that God offers to us. In Jesus, and which he empowers us to offer to all. And in this is found complete joy. Go ahead, Lisa. Saul flows finally into the cross. Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. Yeah, I try to think through this a little bit. I get a chance to do that when I preach on it. And I try to remember those who I call friends in my life. And it seems to always... This always seems to be a part of it. You tend to trust people who gave up something for you. Don't you? My brother and I are just, he's 4 years old. You think we'd be far apart, but we're so tight. And sometimes I think it goes back to this day where he was in the 8th grade and I was in the 4th grade. His friends came and said, come on, let's go play football. And your brother can't come. And he said, no, if he doesn't come, I'm not going. He would give up his friends for this little runt kid brother, right? Wow. Or I had a good friend in high school, his name was Jim, and he had the lead part in the play Kismet. Anybody knows that play? He had the lead part. And I was just in the chorus. He was a year older than I was. And somebody didn't show up for a dress rehearsal, and they kind of quickly got me. They thought they had my lines down that I was supposed to do for this guy, and I walked down there, and I completely screwed it up. This is a dress rehearsal, which means the orchestra's going, and you got to have rhythm, right? And the guy stops everything, and he screams at me and tells me to get the hell out of there if I don't know the lines. This is in front of everybody in the music department, guys. Tough for a junior in high school, right? And so I thought, well, I'm going to take a little run here. And so I walk off, and there was this is, a tough area, right? So we always ran on the tracks, the train tracks. So I said, I'll just take a little run. 9 o'clock at night, didn't matter. So I'm doing that, and about a half mile down the tracks, somebody's screaming for me, and here's Jim. He's left the rehearsal. He had the lead in the play. Could have lost it all. Everything that he'd worked for, he was a senior. And none of that mattered to him. He was concerned about me. Think about the friends in your life. Why do you trust them as friends? Maybe because they've given up something for you. He gave up everything. He gave up everything because of his great love. And then he says, you are my friends if you do what I command. Oh, what does that mean again? Go ahead, put that up there for me, Lisa. It means to believe on him, to trust him as a friend, and then to live in that trust and that love towards others. This is God's heart toward you. He wants you not simply as a doulos, as a servant, as a slave, but as a friend. And you can trust him because this is what he did for you. He goes on, he says this in this text. He says, I no longer call you servants because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. I thought about this with Lee. Lots of things make people friends, and I guess it's in different situations, but we went through 4 years of seminary together. And so we had the same mission. And I really learned to respect his honesty and his integrity and his scholarship. And he had a certain amount of guts to say what he thought was right, even when he might have gotten hurt for it, right? Jesus here is bringing us into the family business. He's making us part of the mission, not just for 4 years, but for a lifetime. You're part of the family. You're the friend of Jesus. His Father has become your Father. This is God's heart towards you. And this is what he empowers you to live in. I call you friends. The foundation is this agape love that sees the sacrifice, to know we can trust. And this is our connecting God, connecting with us. This connection of friendship is what we are about in our lives, a trust we can relax in. Like the first time you and your spouse realized you could just be together and not have to fill the air with words. That's what it means to be a friend of Jesus, see? You don't have to jump through a hoop so he likes you. You can't jump through a hoop so he likes you, right? But he comes to you and he calls you friend. And you can just be with him. You can just do life with him. As together you join him on his mission. This is a gift he gives you to receive and to live in. Together individually and together and individually in our lives. Connecting God. Hospitality, you are welcome here. The heart of Jesus, moved by love, saying, I call you friend. You can trust him. You can be in that relationship between you and Jesus and through him with those around you. In our Connect ministry, we practice this connection, hospitality. You are welcome here, and friend making, the coffee hour and the soup suppers, the special events. We're doing the extreme block party. It's all about friend making. And it's not something that's on the surface. It's that deep reality of friendship that we offer. It's part of what we do. More than that, it's who we are. It's part of our DNA. This is who we are, friends of Jesus in his ocean of grace. And this is what we do. Offer that friendship to all. So this week, where do you need to receive anew, or maybe for the first time, the friendship of Jesus? What does it mean to you that in his great agape love for you, Jesus comes to connect with you in friendship? Where do you need to remember his heart is one you can trust as you look at his sacrifice on the cross? Where do you need to hear his voice anew? I have called you friend. By grace through faith, do it. And having received anew the friendship of Jesus, where and how is Jesus calling you to make your joy complete by offering this same friendship to another in his name? By grace through faith, do it. You are welcome here. I call you friend. These are gifts to receive, to live in, and to give away. And may God's grace be with you. Amen. We stand, we can